Stem cell therapy, some have called it the gift of science, others say it's sort of like playing God.
During the 1960s, Ernest McCall and James Till defined key properties of stem cells while experimenting on a mouse in the Institute for Cancer Research in Ontario, Canada. During this time period, the now known stem cell transplant was called a bone marrow transplant. From this, the spark of innovative ideas came to the leading discovery in 1981. 21 years after the discovery that embryonic stem cells could be derived from mouse, Martin Evans and Matt Kaufman successfully isolated and cultured stem cells using mouse blastocysts in the University of Cambridge. In 1998, James Thomas then discovered that mouse were not the only species that stem cells could derive from. James Thomas discovered that human embryos could be used other than mouse. On August 9, 2001, President Bush prohibits the federal funding of any research using embryonic stem cells.
We provided more than $3 billion for research on all forms of stem cells, including those from adult and other non-embryonic sources. This careful approach is producing results. It has contributed to proven therapeutic treatments in thousands of patients with many different diseases. It's opening the prospect of new discoveries that could transform lives.
Now, this kind of procedure is not totally new to the Philippines. Some famous personalities have admitted to undergoing the procedure to help them look young and stay sharp.
In between 2005 to 2008, the Enhancement Act was introduced twice. The act was passed both times by the House of Representatives and the Senate, but it was vetoed twice by President George W. Bush.
The floor today, this is one of the best days in those 20 years, because it is a day when the Congress of the United States voted, and you and I will send to the President legislation that is relevant to the lives of the American people, gives them hope. Because I do believe that embryonic stem cell can provide the answer, the science can provide the answer to the prayers of so many families across America.
I made it clear to Congress and to the American people that I will not allow our nation to cross this moral line. Last year, Congress passed a similar bill. I kept my promise by vetoing it. And today, I'm keeping my word again. I'm vetoing the bill that Congress has sent.
However, when President Barack Obama took office in 2009, he signed an executive order mandating the lift on the ban that limited federal funding on stem cell research.
With the executive order I am about to sign, we will bring the change that so many scientists and researchers, doctors and innovators, patients and loved ones have hoped for and fought for these past 8 years. We will lift the ban on federal funding for promising embryonic stem cell research.
When all this comes into play, we ask ourselves, is this a triumph or a tragedy? Stem cells have been proven to be an advantage throughout the discovery of multiple therapies. The therapies have been a breakthrough in our history, and to this day, they have increased our capability of curing the incurable.
Dr. Yago Nieto from MD Anderson Cancer Center explains a major triumph in stem cell therapy.
So the main triumph has been that it cures cancers that would not be curable otherwise. So this started with a disease that is actually not a cancer, but is a lethal disease called aplastic anemia. One of the fathers of this field, a guy named Donald Thomas, who won the Nobel Prize back in, I think, 1990 or 1991, realized that, in aplastic anemia, the bone marrow of a patient starts failing. Not because of cancer, rather because of an immune attack from the patient's immune system against the bone marrow cells. So all the blood counts started to drop, and the patient would eventually die. The simple idea, which was actually genius, was to try to replace the bone marrow, which was failing, with healthy bone marrow from a donor, right? With aplastic anemia, which was the early poster child of bone marrow stem cell transplant, came a series of sequential successes in acute leukemia, in chronic leukemia, in myeloma, in lymphomas, and also in specific selective tumors that can be cured with high-dose chemotherapy.
Overall, the triumphs of stem cell therapy are endless, from saving lives to regenerating organs, and from turning diseases that were once incurable to curable. As Eli Broad said, without a doubt, stem cell research will lead to the dramatic improvement in the human condition and will benefit millions of people.